Welcome to Notebook, a program of interest to the St. Lucie County community that features information about St. Lucie County schools. Guests include school district and community leaders with focus on children in our community.
Hello and welcome to Notebook. My name is Jane Whitaker and I am your host for the next few minutes. And Notebook is a show that connects you, our viewer, with community officials, district personnel, and other organizations from around the Treasure Coast. And today we have a very special guest with us, and we have Mr. E. Wayne Gent, Superintendent of St. Lucie Public Schools. Thank you so much for being here today.
Happy to be back.
It's so great to have you back. Thanks for being on the show with us today. And as always in the past, I usually have our guests share a little bit about their professional journey and just what brought you back home to St. Lucie County.
Okay, well, I was here in 1980 as a social studies teacher and a head boys basketball coach at Fort Pierce Central, and then was assistant principal at Central, and then opened up Port St. Lucie High School as assistant principal with Charlie Kumo, and then became principal of Forest Grove Middle School, and then went to principal at Westwood High School. That was 1993. And then I was in Tallahassee for a year in what was called the Principal in Residence program, and then was principal, came back, principal at St. Lucie West. Back then it was just St. Lucie West Middle School. And then from there I went to Palm Beach County and served in a variety of roles for 15 years. The last 4 years were superintendent. And then was just looking for something different after we made some great gains there, and the district was really one of the top performing urban districts in the state and was ready for a new challenge, and it all worked out. Ended up back right here at home where it all started in St. Lucie County.
So St. Lucie Public Schools continues to be a school district on the rise, and we have so much to be proud of. Share with our viewers some of the points of pride about our district and really highlight some of the great things that are happening here in St. Lucie County.
Well, I think it's number one when we talk about our graduation rate and how we went from 45th in the state to, now to the top 10, and that's for all of our different groups, all groups of students, from our African American students, Hispanic students, students with disabilities. Everyone's in the top 10, so we're very, very pleased with that. We have no failing schools. 66% of our schools are A and B rated schools. We continue to grow our career technical academies. We have industry certifications that continue to rise. That's where students gain credentials to go right into the world of work, not come in at entry-level employment. So all of that's done with quality instructors and quality teachers.
So during today's show, we really want to talk about how community members in St. Lucie County can support and directly impact the success of St. Lucie Public Schools. And there is a special referendum election that is coming up very soon in April that we want to inform our viewers about. Can you share with us a little bit about the background and purpose of this referendum? There's
really 4 reasons for the referendum. It really starts with our students and a quality education. What happens between the teacher and the student is the most important task that we have here. So this referendum will try to make our salaries competitive with surrounding school districts, because other local school districts have gone to their voters and have passed referendums and other types of ballot initiatives. We really find ourselves trailing behind Martin County, Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade County, Monroe County, several counties across the state. So we want to increase teacher salaries. We want to make sure that we have law enforcement, school resource officers on every campus. We want to improve on our mental health services and preserve important programs. So those are the 4 main reasons for this referendum.
So my next question is, how many years is the referendum actually for?
This will be for 4 years. By state law, you can only have one for 4 years, and then if you choose to continue with it, you would have to renew it by going back to the voters in 4 years.
And another question I know our viewers will be very curious about is how the funds are actually used.
Okay. 70% of the funds would go for teacher salaries. And let me explain that. There's a gap right now between Palm Beach and Martin County and ourselves with what they passed. For a teacher with 0 to 4 to 5 years experience, there'll be a gap of almost, could be from $1,800 on up. For years of 5 to 10 years experience, a teacher in both Palm Beach and Martin County receives $5,000 more than our teachers, and then teachers with 10 or more years experience will be between Martin County's at, I believe, $7,800 and Palm Beach is at $10,000. So those are significant increases in their salary one that currently we can't compete with.
So oftentimes there are many misconceptions about how budgets are allocated for school districts. Share with us about the Florida lottery, because a lot of people have a very misguided idea of what the lottery is actually about and how much it really provides to the budget of school districts.
The lottery counts for less than 0.5%. So the majority of the lottery dollars go for Bright Future scholarships for seniors. What's left over is would run the district probably for 4 hours on just one day. So there's very little dollars in the lottery for the school districts.
I know that I've been approached several times just on this next question is about our new district office. And I think it's very important to share with the listeners how the law really dictates how our dollars are spent. And can you share just a little bit about the difference between capital and operational and how this all works as a school district?
Well, the old district building was flooded, and it wasn't the first time it's been flooded, and we really couldn't go back into it. So we had to find another place to have a district office, if you will. And so the dollars that'll pay for that building really come from insurance proceeds from the old district office building, from the sale of that building, and then from sales tax receipts. That building is already paid for. Those dollars that go for that cannot be used for teacher salaries, cannot be used for what's called operational expenses. So there's two pots of money. It's by state statute. So the building itself really has no bearing on our teacher salaries because we couldn't use any of those dollars for that.
So I understand that there's an advisory committee that is appointed as a financial oversight. Can you talk to us about that?
Okay, great question. And the oversight so important. In the ballot language itself, it talks about there'll be an oversight committee. So that oversight committee is appointed by members of the school board. Myself, the CTA will have representation. We'll have some volunteers from the community to make sure that where we say the dollars are going to go, they do in fact go. When I was in Palm Beach County, I had the opportunity to work with a couple of referendums. We had that same ballot language built in there. So that ensures the public that the money is going to be spent where we say it's going to be spent. Also, by state statute, it can only be spent to where we say the money is going to go. Our school board members themselves are elected officials. They're accountable to the public. So again, we have systems built in to make sure that every penny literally goes to the intended purpose.
So before we move forward with talking specifically about the ballot process, let's talk a little bit about the campaign behind this referendum. And we're seeing it everywhere. And this is for children, for teachers, for safety, and for our future. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, that's the key. It's for our children. And our students are our most precious natural resource. And we need to make sure that we've got high quality teachers in front of our students. When surrounding counties and counties in the state, in our state itself, can offer significantly higher salaries, we will lose our best and brightest teachers to other places. So all these successes that we've made and what happens to that individual child, the boys and girls or the young people in our school centers, we can't afford to lose our high quality teachers. So one of the purposes, 70% of the dollars will go to make sure that we are competitive with our surrounding counties with the salaries. Our children directly benefit from that. Secondly is about safety and teacher safety, student safety, staff safety on our campuses. Currently, the money that we get from the state of Florida is inadequate to really cover a school resource officer on every campus. So the county commission has stepped up, which they've done in the past, and has helped us to compensate that, to have an officer on every campus. The Sheriff Mascara put an officer in after the Parkland Douglas massacre a year ago. He put officers in every school that did not have them. That was mainly our elementary schools. If we're successful with the referendum, we can guarantee that we'll have an officer, not a teacher with a weapon. We don't want teachers having guns. We don't want armed guards. We want to have school police deputies, we call them school resource officers, on every campus, and this will ensure that occurs. And then the third issue is student mental health. The children come to us with a lot of mental health issues and challenges today, and so we want to make sure we could hire some additional counselors, school psychologists, behavioral interventionists, those kinds of folks that could help our children. And then fourthly, really, is just to preserve important programs to make sure that we have dollars in our career tech or our arts or our music programs, whatever that would be, that represents 1% of the funds. It's a very small amount of money. just to make sure we would have to preserve our important programs.
So then another question that I've been asked is why not wait for the next general election?
Okay, 2 years would be too long. There needs to be a sense of urgency now for our children. We can't afford to lose any teachers. We need to make sure our children are protected by a school resource officer each and every day. So the stakes are so high that we needed to move forward now and not wait 2 years. And who knows what would happen in the 2 years. The priority is our children. The priority is the safety of our children and our staff members on our campus. And so the sense of urgency is for right now.
So how will this special referendum actually be conducted?
It'll be a mail ballot, which means that all registered voters on or around April the 3rd will receive a ballot in the mail. It's the only item that there is. It's the only item. It'll be a yes or no vote for this, and then they can mail that back to the Supervisor of Elections office. It'll be postage paid, so all they have to do is fill it out and send it back. We think by this method, we'll get more voters to come out to determine the future of our schools, as opposed to a special election where people that go in, normally you would have anywhere from 7 to 14% of the voters that would come in for what's called a traditional election. We think that more people will vote this way. That'll make sure that we have more voice in the future of the school district themselves.
I know they have a few options to submit their ballots, but what are some of the various ways that voters can submit their ballot to the Supervisor of Election? Absolutely.
The Supervisor of Elections has 4 satellite offices. Well, really, her office and 3 satellite offices. So her main office, Ms. Walker's main office, is up on Okeechobee Road, up there where our headquarters used to be. There's one on Walton Road. There's one at the Annex, St. Lucie West Annex, the government annex building there. And then there's a new satellite office right in front of Christ Fellowship Church, where that's the new tax collector's office. There will be a satellite office in there. So there would be 4 sites that if a voter wanted to take it in and turn it in person and turn it over to an elections person, they could do that as well.
So before we go, thanks for being with us again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And just to summarize, the basis behind this referendum, just share some last minute thoughts with us.
Well, this is important. This is very important to our community. This is important to the economic vitality of our community, because when folks come in, they want to know about the quality of their schools. And we can only have high-performing schools if we have high-performing teachers. And to have high-performing teachers, we need to pay them a decent salary that's competitive with the rest of the state. We need to have our schools safe, and they are safe right now. We want to maintain that safety in our school centers. We need a school resource officer on every campus. We want to make sure that we can provide increased mental health services for our students and preserve important programs. It's really about the future of our community and our schools. Our most precious natural resource are the boys and girls that come to us every day, and they deserve a quality education, and I'm confident that our community will step up and provide that for them.
St. Lucie Public Schools continues to be a school district on the rise, and we look forward to connecting with you over these next couple of months, and we encourage you to keep an eye out for April 3rd for those referendum ballots to arrive at your home. Then you have until April 23rd to submit your ballot. Remember that we are for children, for teachers, for safety, and for the future of this community. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Notebook. Thanks for watching.